Hi guys, hope you're all doing good, and today I'm going to be doing a Megadeth discography ranking. Now, obviously Megadeth needs no introduction. They're a legendary classic thrash band, one of the big four, led by the legendary figure Dave Mustaine for over 40 years. And now recently they've just put out their 17th and supposedly final studio album before they're going to go on their farewell tour and retire. So I was, with that album coming out, I thought it might be a good idea to do a Megadeth ranking. Rank all the 17 albums, not including Hidden Treasures. And yeah, without any further ado, let's just get straight into it. Hope you enjoy the video. So to begin, these bottom two would be in like the bottom tier if I was to do a ranking video. So number 17 is Risk from 1999. The last one to feature Marty Friedman, and the first one to feature Jimmy DeGrasso on the drums. And yeah, this isn't a great album. It's really commercial sounding, a bit grungy in places, a bit almost country rock in some areas as well. It's not a very enjoyable album. It's quite cringy in places as well, especially the song Crush 'Em has got to be one of the most cringy songs that Megadeth have ever written. Yeah, there's nothing really much here that I enjoyed when I listened to this one. The only tracks that I thought were actually alright was Wanderlust, 7 and the Time songs at the end. I thought they were alright, but the rest of it, like Insomnia, Crush 'Em, as I said, Breadline, not brilliant. So yeah, that one is most definitely at rock bottom for me. Number 16, I've got Super Collider from 2013, and this is the last album to feature Chris Burdek and Sean Drover. And listening to this album, it gets a lot of negative reviews. I actually didn't think it was as bad as I thought it was going to be, strangely. There was a couple of songs in there that I thought were actually decent, like Kingmaker, Built for War was alright, Off the Edge was okay, Dance in the Rain I thought was actually pretty decent, and Beginning of Sorrow I thought was alright as well, but a lot of the songs have got some pretty cringy, bad moments, especially Super Collider just sounds like a... I read one reviewer said it sounded like a B-side Bon Jovi song, and I kind of do get that. Burn, I couldn't take that seriously when he was singing Burn, Baby Burn was just no. And yeah, some of the songs towards the end of the album, Forget to Remember, Don't Turn Your Back, were not brilliant. But as I said, there were some decent moments on the album, especially Kingmaker being a definite standout. The next couple of albums I would have in the tier above, sort of okay but not great, but definitely not bad. So in 15th place, the next one I've got is The World Needs a Hero from 2001, and this is the last one with Dave Ellison till he come back in 2010. And also the last one with Jimmy DeGrasso, and this is the only album featuring Ali Petrelli. And yeah, I got the impression of this album is just alright. It's nothing too special. It's, there's nothing dreadful on it. I think probably the weakest songs would be Promises, maybe Losing My Senses, and 1,000 Times Goodbye. I think them songs are a bit forgettable, but the rest of the songs are alright. I didn't mind Disconnect. I thought The World Needs a Hero was actually not too bad. Had a bit of like a Cryptic Writings vibe to that one. Burning Bridges I thought was okay. Recipe for Hate was pretty good. Dread and the Fugitive Mind I didn't mind. Return to Hangar I thought was a pretty decent song, but a bit of a weird like concept of like almost like redoing Hangar 18. I thought that was a bit strange. And the last song, When, I don't know why they decided to rip off Diamond Head with Am I Evil, but if you listen to that song, it's a almost blatant rip off of that song. Yeah, and I will say on Ali Petrelli, I think he's one of the weakest lead guitarists that Megadeth have ever had. Some of the leads are a little bit weak, let's say. But yeah, overall, it's not a dreadful album, but it's nothing too inspiring. Next up, at number 14, I have got the new one, self-titled, from 2026. The supposed last one. The first album and only album to feature Timo Matsari on the guitar, and also is the return of James Amenzo on the bass. I think this album's a decent send-off for the band. However, it's not really what I wanted, especially with the two albums that came out previously. I kind of had a feeling it might have been more similar to that, but it wasn't really. However, I can't deny the musicianship. You know, there's some fantastic guitar solos. Timu, you know, he channels his inner Marty Friedman, and as a massive Marty Friedman fan, I really do like that. Dave's vocals, I think, is one of the weak points on this album. I think he's struggling in areas, you know, trying to sing, and it's just, you know, it just kind of falls a little bit short for me. But yeah, I know I quite liked it on the second listen a hell of a lot more than I did my first listen. Tipping Point's definitely a standout. Hey God, I thought was alright. Let There Be Shred was pretty decent, although, you know, some of the lyrics are not brilliant. Made to Kill I thought was pretty good. I didn't mind Obey the Call. I thought the second half of that song was really good. And The Last Note is a pretty good way to end. Obviously they did the Ride the Lightning cover. It's alright. I think the vocals are, again, where it falls short. I Don't Care is a song that I really don't like. And as Dave Mustaine would say, I don't care. Another Bad Day is another one that I thought was just not a good song. But yeah, overall, it's alright. It's not anything groundbreaking, but it's not completely dreadful. There's some good moments on it. And next up, I've got 13 from 2011, and yeah, this is the first one to feature the return of David Ellefson. And yeah, I thought this album was pretty good actually. However, the more times I heard it, it started to go down the ranking a little bit. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just because of like listening to other albums. This one just sort of just fell down the pecking order, but I still like it. There's still, you know, stuff on here like Sudden Death, Never Dead, The New World Order is pretty good. Millennium of the Blind I quite like. But yeah, it's sort of a bit more of like a hard rock, heavy metal album. They kind of dropped a lot of the thrash, but I quite like the guitar playing on here, obviously, because Chris Broderick's great. There's some really good moments throughout the album. What I will say, I think it's a bit too long. Same with The World Needs a Hero. These albums are just a little bit too long. I think if you cut... There's 13 songs, obviously, because 13, but I think if you cut it down to maybe 10 tracks, I think that might have benefited the album a bit more. But yeah, I like the fact that they used a couple of songs from the Countdown demo sessions as well, because you could definitely tell that they were written around that time. And yeah, again, I do quite like this album. but I will have to say that it's just fallen a little bit down on the list with the current listens that I've been listening to. Now we're getting into the territory of the pretty good tier to excellent tier. All these albums now, from now on, I think are really good, and you know, it's just a case of putting them in an order, really. So next up in 12th, I have got The System Has Failed from 2004. And yeah, this one features the return of Chris Poland doing some leads. And then this also features the session players Jimmy Lasolas on the bass and Vinny Colaiuta, maybe saying that wrong, on the drums. And yeah, this is a good comeback because this album obviously is after Dave started getting his rehabilitation on his arm injury. And obviously this was going to be a solo album, but they only put it on the Megadeth name to get more album sales, obviously. But yeah, I think this is a pretty decent comeback. There's some really, really great songs on here. Overall, I think it's a pretty decent album. I really dig Blackmail the Universe, Kick the Chair, Tears in a Vial is pretty good, Back in the Day is pretty good as well. I like Truth Be Told, I think that song's pretty cool. And then the last song, My Kingdom, is pretty decent. Probably my least favourites would be Die Dead Enough, The Scorpion, and Of Mice of Men. I just think them songs are, you know, a little bit more on the commercial side. I wasn't really a big fan of them songs. But the rest of it I thought was pretty good and definitely started the trajectory of the band, you know, hitting another peak in the 2000s. So that's that one at number 12. Number 11, and this one actually shot up because I hadn't listened to it for ages, and when I first heard it I wasn't really the biggest fan of it, but since listening to it again for this ranking I really, really enjoy it now. And that's Cryptic Writings from 1997, the last one to feature Nick Menza on the drums. And yeah, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I really, really enjoy this album now. It's got a really great mix of like metal and grunge, and it's a very consistent album, a very enjoyable album as well. And I didn't realise at the time how much this, you know, it sounded closer to Euthanasia than it did to Risk, and I think that's probably what sold me on this album, because I was under the impression that this was closer to Risk than it was Euthanasia, but it's not. I much prefer this to Risk. There's some really great stuff on here. Like obviously the biggest single was Trust, of course, but I really like Use the Man. It's kind of got that grungy Alice in Chains vibe to that one. Mastermind's great. The Disintegrators has got almost a bit of a thrashy vibe to it. I like Sin, Secret Place, pretty cool. She-Wolf, I kind of get a bit of like a 2000s metal vibe to that song. I really, really like it. Vortex is pretty cool, and FFF. It's a cool song. You can definitely hear there's a bit of like a Motor Breath vibe to that song. But yeah, some really great guitar solos on it. Really great songwriting, and yeah, definitely. And the OG version, which is what I've got here, is definitely a lot better than the remastered edition. Now breaking into the top 10, and I have got The Sick, the Dying and the Dead from 2022, and this is the last one to feature Kiko Loureiro on the guitar, and it's also featured Steve DiGiorgio recording the bass parts because Dave Ellefson got sacked. And yeah, it's a really solid album. I think there's some really good stuff on here. I really enjoy, I think my favourite song is probably Life in Hell. I think that song is awesome. It's like the old school sounding Megadeth. I like the title track, Night Stalkers is pretty good. I I like Sacrifice. Sacrifice is a bit of a different song, but I quite like it. We'll Be Back, excellent song. The second half, it kind of falls off a little bit. It's not as good with songs like Psychopathy. It's just a bit pointless. Soldier On is alright. Celebutante is okay. Mission to Mars has got some really bad, cringy lyrics in it. I don't know what on earth they were thinking with that. But overall, I think this album's pretty good. And maybe they should have ended with this one at number 9. This one might shock some people. I've got the debut, Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good, from 1985. And I really do like this album. I like its raw and aggressiveness. You know, Dave had something to prove on this album. And, you know, he didn't hold back. And I like that. However, I think because it's so raw, like the production, especially on this version that I have, this is a Century Media from 2011. I think it's, you know, maybe the production's not as good. It doesn't, you know, showcase the riffs as much as on like the 2018 remaster, where it sounds a hell of a lot better. Obviously, there's that These Boots cover, which is just not needed. And personally, I think, you know, this album's good, but I think they went on to do better in their career than this. But still, I like the title track, Skull Beneath the Skin. Rattlehead is great. Mechanics is pretty cool. Chosen Ones is alright. Yeah. I mean, not bad by a long stretch, but I think they went on to do better. And at number 8, I have got Euthanasia from 1994. And yeah, this album's always had a special place for me. I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but I just really enjoy this album. It's got a load of great, fun, enjoyable songs. I like the fact that they went a little bit more melodic, but they didn't completely abandon their heavier side. I thought they mixed it together really nice. Some really great musicianship, obviously Marty Friedman, some great guitar solos. Dave Mustaine sounds brilliant on this, I think. I think his voice sounds really good. There's nothing much I don't enjoy on this album. Reckoning Day, Chain of Consequences, Addicted to Chaos, Tout Le Monde, all awesome. Killing Road's great. Blood of Heroes is great. Title track's pretty good. I love it. I Thought I Knew It All. That's one of my favourites. Black Curtain is pretty good, and then it ends with Victory, which is a bit more of like a parody kind of song. It's got all like Megadeth song titles in the lyrics. A bit weird, but definitely an underrated album. And I think it's an underrated album for a lot of people, but yeah, I really love it. Number 7, I've got United Abominations from 2007, and this is the first album with a proper lineup since World Needs a Hero. Obviously the first one with James Amenzo on the bass and the Drover Brothers, but obviously Glenn Drover, this is his one and only album with the band. And I think, as I said with The System Has Failed, that was like the building blocks for the resurgence of Megadeth, and this is the true proper comeback for me. I think there's some really awesome songs on here, like Sleepwalker, Washington Is Next, Never Walk Alone, Gears of War, brilliant. I really like the last song, Burnt Ice, really great song as well. I think the middle, it's alright. You've got Blessed Are the Dead, Play for Blood. The Tout Le Monde remake is alright. I think I prefer the original, but the new one's not too bad. Yeah, Glenn Drover, I think he's a bit of an underrated guitarist. I think he does some really good stuff on here. Um, yeah, great musicianship throughout. Dave sounds pretty good as well. And yeah, I think the reason why I've got this ahead of Euthanasia, I think the quality of the really good songs are just a little bit better than Euthanasia. So yeah, United Abominations at number 7. Now we're getting to the top tier with my top 6 here. And in 6th, I've got Dystopia from 2016. The first album to feature Kiko Loureiro. The last album with Dave Ellefson after he got fired. And the only album to feature Chris Adler on the drums. And this album is almost perfect. It's, it comes back to the thrash sound that I think Megadeth are best known for and what they do best. Some really great heavy stuff as well on here. There's some really awesome tracks. I like pretty much all of it apart from maybe the last 2 songs, I think, where it kind of falls off a little bit, but the rest of it is just almost 10 out of 10 stuff. The Threat Is Real, the title track, Fatal Illusion, Death From Within, Bullet to the Brain, all good stuff. Post American World's pretty cool. Poisonous Shadows is a different kind of sounding song, but I really enjoy it. Conquer or Dies, great instrumental, and then Lying in State, really cool song as well. And yeah, The Emperor and the cover from Polar Seas just sort of just brings it down a little bit, but yeah, some excellent guitar solos on here from Kiko. Definitely one of my favourite guitarists that Megadeth have had. Dave sounds really good. The lyrics, I will say, is another downer. The lyrics are a little bit repetitive on here, but apart from that, really solid album. And yeah, definitely one of the best that they've done more recently. And then just breaking into number 5, I have got Endgame from 2009, and yeah, this is the first one with Chris Broderick and the last one with James Lorenzo until he returned in 2021. Yeah, this is just an amazing album from start to finish, just an awesome album. This is like the blueprint for what a modern Megadeth album should sound like for me. Some absolutely unreal guitar solos throughout. And yeah, I really love it. The instrumental Dialectic Chaos, This Day We Fight, 44 minutes, 13:20. Bite the Hand Bodies, Endgame. The hardest part of Letting Go is probably the weakest, but it's okay. Head Crusher, awesome song. How the Story Ends is alright. And then The Right to Go Insane is pretty cool way to end the album. Yeah, there's nothing really much wrong with this album. Maybe the only thing is maybe Dave's voice starting to tail off a little bit, but it's alright. I can kind of live with it because the music on here is absolutely almost 10 out of 10. Probably like 9.8 out of 10. It's so awesome. Love it. Definitely the best album that Megadeth have done in the modern era. Coming in at number 4, just missing out in the top 3, I have got Countdown to Extinction from 1992. Their answer to the Black Album, personally I think this is better than the Black Album. Really awesome production, great songwriting, musicianship, as you'd expect. It's, obviously them being a bit more on the Black Album side, it's a bit more commercial, but still, it's a great album, very enjoyable. Yeah, the first song, Skin of My Teeth, is really good. Symphony of Destruction, obviously, is the biggest hit. Architecture of Aggression, I love. Foreclosure of a Dream is really good. Sweat and Bullets as well. I think this was My Life and Countdown to Extinction. I think those are the 2 weakest songs on the album. But then it picks up with High Speed Dirt and Psychotron. Captive Honor is pretty good. And then ends with Ashes in Your Mouth. Absolute banger of a song. Yeah, everyone's on top form here. This is an absolutely fantastic album. Now for the top 3, and in 3rd I've got So Far So Good So What from 1988. and this is the only album to feature Chuck Beeler on the drums and Jeff Young on the guitar. And I think this album gets a little bit overlooked. I think that's got to do with what came before and after it. But there's still some really good top quality stuff here. Like the opener, Into the Lungs of Hell, is an awesome instrumental, and then it goes straight into Set the World Afire. And then I think it takes a little bit of a downwards spiral in the middle with the Anarchy UK cover, Mary Jane. They're kind of okay. And then 502 is pretty decent. And then In My Darkest Hour, which is probably the most well-known song off this album. Brilliant song. Liar is a great track, and then it ends with Hook in Mouth, which is another great track. So yeah, I think it's got some really great songs at the start and the end, and the middle kind of just is where it kind of just takes a bit of a downturn. But the quality of the songs on here are, is what just makes it that cut above some of the other albums that I previously mentioned. And yeah, Jeff Young I think is one of the weakest lead guitarists again. Him and Al Pitrelli, not the best, but apart from that, yeah, amazing album. Number 2, well, this is going to go either way, isn't it? For some, it's this one is going to be their number 1, but for me, it's my number 2. Peace Sells, and yeah, this is the last one with Chris Poland and Gar Samuelson. It's almost perfect. I think that I Ain't Superstitious cover, if that's not there, would it be number 1? Maybe, I don't know. It's an absolute classic though, 80s thrash classic. So many amazing songs like Wake Up Dead, The Conjuring, Peace Sells, Devil's Island, Good Morning Black Friday, My Last Words, all just excellent stuff. And yeah, understandably would be some people's favourite, but for me just misses out, because this album, not only it's my favourite Megadeth album, I think it's definitely one of the best thrash albums of all time, one of the best metal albums of all time, and definitely one of the best, if not the best, 90s metal album. Rust in Peace. It's just a 10 out of 10, isn't it? It's just absolutely perfect from start to finish, this album. And yeah, what else? What can you say about it? Marty Friedman, obviously, and Nick Menza debut with the band, and it's a 10 out of 10. It's an absolute masterpiece from start to finish. Holy Wars, Hangar 18, Take No Prisoners, Five Magics. I do like Five Magics. I know some people don't like it. I don't know. I think it's good. Poison Was the Cure, Lucretia, amazing guitar solo on Lucretia. Tornado of Souls, obviously one of the big ones. Dawn Patrol, it's a bit of, probably the weakest song, but still it's okay. I can still listen to it. And then it ends with Rust in Peace, Polaris. Just awesome. Yeah, just a fantastic album. Maybe the only thing is probably the vocals. Dave's doing his vocals, but apart from that, it's just awesome. Amazing album. 10 out of 10. The best Megadeth album for me. So that was my crazy big Megadeth ranking video. I'd love to know what you thought of my ranking, and also I'd love to know how you would rank the Megadeth albums. And also what's your thoughts on their final album, whether it will be their final album. Let's find out. Next time I'm going to be doing a Killswitch Engage discography ranking, so I hope you might be interested in watching that. And yeah, if you got this far, thanks ever so much for watching. I've been waffling for ages. Until the next time, keep it metal.